Eat as many nuts as you'd like to, Steven. Go nuts with game day nuts at the Roost in West Ashley for the ball game on Saturday night. What's up, brother?
How we doing? How's a interesting entrance?
Well, it's too easy, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta it could be worse. I mean, I could really go down the rabbit hole if
Oh,
you want me to.
no, that was solid.
I generally just do that with Flint and try to make him giggle, and it's easy to embarrass him.
No
Uh,
doubt.
Kind of like what happened Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. Gamecocks go down 31-7. We're obviously waiting to hear the prognosis on LaNorris Sellers and whether he'll be able to play this weekend in Columbia, Missouri. But prior to his exit from the ball game, what did you think about his performance and the performance of the offense?
I think the same thing as everybody else thinks. It's it's kind of disheartening. And to be honest, I was texting back and forth with LaNorris, and I'm not going to be a breaking news kind of guy, so I'm not going to. I'll text you individually, but I'm not
That's
going to
fine.
say anything over on this thing. Uh, but yeah, man, it's a pretty disheartening deal. But yeah, I mean the offense, even with him, it was struggling, man. I don't. What's crazy is you see all these people, on Twitter, and I was talking with Pat and the other guys about it. It's like everybody's quick to blame Coach Shula, and it's like this guy has been successful at every single level of football that he's coached at. It's sometimes it's not always the coaching, sometimes it's the Indians, So it's kind of been frustrating to watch, and I'm hoping we can turn it around. We have to turn around, otherwise it's going to be a long damn season.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I mentioned to Whittle just a little bit ago. I feel like this an auto repair offense right now. Steven, you put your truck in the shop, you get a couple things fixed, and then you blow a tire on the side of the road. And you're right back in there. It's just one or two steps forward and then one or two steps backwards. Um, and this past week, I was listening to Brewer yesterday actually for a little while. I love Ryan. Ryan, you know how Ryan is. He's
Oh yeah,
just yeah. I'll call it how I see it real quick. He doesn't
yeah,
he doesn't give two craps what anybody thinks about his opinion. And he said, defense, obviously the missed tackles, but offensively, the turnovers and the penalties were the two things that he felt like just continued to just put this thing in neutral or in reverse on Saturday night, no matter who played quarterback, Stellers or Doty.
yeah. And I think he's 100% right. And I know we talked about it off the air, but watching the game, I didn't think Luke played that bad at all.
Oh,
You
I
know,
didn't either.
it's and just seeing the comments from. Listen, I love the Gamecock fans. They've accepted me back in after the little deportation that I had happened. So I got nothing but positive things to say about South Carolina. But for the most part, man, there are some fans that are just hell bent on you know knocking kids' confidence down, and saying that Luke Doty sucks, and he's 75 years old, which he might be as old as I am at this point, but it is. There's a reason that Aaron Nolan is not playing, boys and girls. There's a reason that he's not playing. There's a reason that he's fourth on the depth chart. There's a reason he transferred from Ohio State. There's a reason he didn't play at Ohio State. I'm not trying to shit talk anybody, but the coaches are getting paid a lot of money to make these decisions. I think they know a little bit more about the ins and outs of Carolina football than the fans that are watching it on Saturdays. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I know exactly what you mean. I look if this. I've been trying to wrap my head around as far as that part of the conversation goes. If it's not working with a kid who, and regardless of the reason, if it's not working with a kid like LaNorris Sellers, I have a difficult time trying to figure out how a true freshman or another kid who really hasn't played any college football are going to magically take the reins, and all of a sudden, here we go. Everything's firing on all cylinders, and you just throw Sellers and Doty and their 9 years worth of collegiate experience in the trash can.
Right.
I'm not there. I feel like with all the issues that this offense has had, and again, Steven, you've forgotten more about it than I'll ever know. But they've had so many problems this year. It seems to me like a guy who is better able to understand and identify and work through those problems would be the best one to be on the field. If it's not Sellers, then it's going to be Doty. But that's just the way that I've looked at it. And then you know, I mean, I guess if you get too far down the road and all is lost, which that's not where they are. They've only played 3 games. But if you looked up and it was week 7 and you're not even a bowl game or something, you want to turn the page to the future for some reason, I can understand things like that. But I mean, they lost 1 game, not 3 on Saturday night, right?
Exactly. The sky is not falling. You know, obviously it was a shitty performance. There's no doubt about it. Can't sugarcoat that. That's, you know, what it is. And I think what hurts fans the most and what hurts me the most is Vanderbilt called us out.
Yeah.
They called it out and they said what they were going to do and they did it. And there's no other, you know, way to say it. I think that's, you know, definitely this is the hardest pill to swallow. But yeah, we lost 1 game. You know, it is a long season. I think we just got to take a deep breath and see what happens.
All right, let's talk about Vanderbilt for a second to be able to compare and contrast where South Carolina is versus where the Commodores are offensively. I know you're a huge fan of Diego Pavia. And when I was watching those guys operate on offense the other night, it just seemed to me, first of all, they were pretty clean. They don't make a bunch of mistakes, Steven. And then they're able to, you know, this play sets up that play and this play sets up that play. And Diego Pavia uses his athleticism to make everybody account for him. And one of the things that I noticed, I'm telling you what I noticed. I love doing this because sometimes you tell me I'm wrong, which is awesome. And then sometimes you tell me I'm right. And it makes me feel really good about myself. But one of the things that I've noticed with Pavia in that offense the other night is whenever they're able to kind of get him out into space, and you're having to Carolina's having to cover their guys, whoever they are, tight ends, wide outs, whatever, tailback comes out of the backfield, whatever it is. They use Pavia to adjust the eyeballs of the defense, and then you see their offensive playmakers make one move. Might be a foot in the ground. They might come back to the ball. They might take a step backwards, whatever it is. That little bit of separation is what Diego looks for. And then he lets it go, and it's just death by 1,000 cuts. And I kept watching this thing go, and I'm like, man, I feel like Carolina could be there. They're not there, but I feel like they could beat Carolina's more after some big plays, and I like that. I think everybody does. But Vandy will just cut, and then you look up in the second half, and you can't catch it.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And I was going back and forth with a couple of Gamecock fans on social media on, you know, Saturday night or even Sunday morning, Sunday, you know, afternoon. They're like, you know, why is Shula not letting LaNorris do exactly what Diego was doing with Vanderbilt? Why are we handicapping him? Why are we doing? I was like, dude, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm not in that offensive staff meeting. Yeah. Coach Shula is getting paid a ton of money to call what he's calling and to know his players, know his strengths, know what he's capable of doing. Do you think he wants to score 7 points? You think his job is not on the line scoring 7 points? That's not the case, man. These guys want to score points. They want the best player to play. They want the best performance especially for the fans, especially for their livelihood, especially for their, you know, future. I mean, that's just it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an answer. I really don't. I have a lot of faith in these coaches to make the best decisions based on their, you know, specific players' attributes.
A couple of things. So I did feel like he was throwing the football pretty well before he went out. Again, the choppiness, the penalties, and things like that obviously are going to affect the rhythm of the offense. But I thought he was throwing it overall pretty well. The other takeaway that I had in this game, Stephen, as far as personnel usage was the 19 touches. I think it was 19. Yeah, 19 touches for Rasul Faison. Do you feel like now that they played the first 2 games, he had 12 total touches, and then he's kind of the guy in week 3, just based on your football experience, you feel like they've kind of settled in that department, like, hey, this is going to be our guy moving forward? And how do you think that affects things when you are calling that offense in game?
I mean, it definitely seems like that, right? It seems like he's going to be the guy. Again, I don't have any clue, and I don't want to speculate on what these coaches are, looking at and what they are trying to accomplish. But it sure seems like that, and I don't blame him. I think he's a hell of a running back, and maybe they're trying to kind of feature him a little bit more. Maybe he's getting a little more comfortable with the offense now that there's live bullets going on, and
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But I mean, I think he's a hell of a player. I think we should try to give him the ball as often as possible, but I don't know, man. There's so many question marks after this past Saturday. I don't even want to begin to think that I have any sort of clue about what the answers should be. I'm kind of chalking it up to, it was a piss poor performance. Our starting guy got knocked out of the game. Let's see what happens in Missouri and hopefully get the train back on tracks.
Hey, that ball, the play that Sellers got hit in the head when he came out of the game, obviously you saw that pressure coming. He just kind of dumped it off there. Did you see how wide? I'm not throwing blame on LaNorris Sellers. Like, he was trying to get rid of the football before he got hammered in the backfield. That's what you do, right? Did you see how wide open Donovan Murph was down the field? That's where they were going with the ball. They were going. It was like a deep post. I mean, he had 10 yards of separation. I feel like it was probably a touchdown. If somebody would have been able to account for whoever that was that ended up hitting him. I think it was a linebacker or safety, maybe. I mean, maybe that's why that guy was wide open.
I mean, I looked at that play several times, and it looked like the right guard should have fanned out to pick that guy up, but maybe the protection was to slide to the left. Maybe that wasn't even his job. But everybody's like, "Oh, that was a cheap shot." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" The guy rushed him with his hands up and barely gave him like a freaking forehead kiss. I don't know. Every single former player that I've talked to, they're asking me "Hey man, how is he concussed? How is he out of the game?" I was like, "I don't know," because I've been hit by it like that way harder than that in practice, for God's sakes. And you just get up and get going. He must have hit him perfectly square right in that. Maybe that. I mean, I don't know.
Face mask. It was right here. Yeah, I'm with you. When I saw the play in the game, I actually didn't think it was a penalty. They
ejected the guy, didn't they?
They did. I didn't see it till after the game. I didn't think it was a penalty in the game. I was more pissed off that it took him 92 seconds to blow the whistle because Doty threw the ball. That's a touchdown to Harbor. He was gone.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was more pissed off that the replay guys in Birmingham waited 92 seconds to flag him and say, "Hey, look, we're going to look at this." I mean, they had a minute and a half. I don't know what they were doing, but I didn't think it was a penalty. And we didn't even really get a good look at it on the board in the ballpark, Steven. So I was under the impression the whole game, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was kind of a makeup, but for the fact that they blew the whistle late. And then when I saw the replay, and by the letter of the law, it is a penalty. I don't love the rule, but it was a penalty based on what I saw, just the helmet-to-helmet contact leading with the head. Tough one for that kid.
Tough one all around. But I mean, yeah, I think if they let that play go, and Nick scores on that catch,
different game.
It's a completely different game. Momentum, everything about it completely changed. But it's hindsight's always 20/20.
Well, so last year, Sellers went out in Game 3 last year against Ole Miss, and against LSU, and then. Robbie Ashford had him in position, had a couple of tough calls to win against them in that game. They turned around and beat the brakes off of Akron, right? And then they have their terrible game against Ole Miss, and Beamer and his guys go, "We've had it. It's enough." They go to Alabama, and they lose by 2 points. But that's when it kind of settled in, we're okay here. We're all right. The one thing that we know about Shane Beamer, you've known Shane for almost 20 years, not to age you, but almost 20 years, man, is he has a remarkable way of getting his team up off the mat. Right. I mean, he's done it his whole time at South Carolina, 20-point losses. He's 5-3 in the responding game. And those 3 losses, 6-point loss to Kentucky in year 1, a 2-point loss against Florida in 2023, and a 2-point loss in 2024 against Alabama. So 3 losses by a combined 10 points. The other 5, including Tennessee in 2022, where they hung 63. They have found a way to get things going. What is it about him that he's able to block out all that noise and get these guys just to zero in on what's next and forget what happened.
I mean, that's why he gets paid the big bucks. That's what he's supposed to do. You gotta. He's a very energetic coach. He's a passionate coach. I think there's nobody on planet Earth that would ever disagree with that. It feeds into those players, and maybe sometimes you just need to keep. You get to be kicked in the ass a little bit to wake up. So, maybe that's what happened, and who knows what the hell will happen the rest of the season. But, I think I guess we'll find out in a couple of days, man. I don't know. We need that offense to do something. I mean, I was talking with Pat and Dakota the other day. I saw something. It was like either 6 or 7 games dating back to last year. The offense hasn't scored more than 17 points.
5 games, yeah. Dating back to the Clemson game.
I mean, that's not great. So
no.
Hopefully something can break, and we can get back on track. But yeah, I don't know.
I feel like if they can just clean up some of the backward steps, the penalties, and just, I mean, I thought Boaz Stanley didn't. I thought he played pretty poorly the other night. They're starting center like that. That can't happen. He has to play well. I'll be curious to see too if they've decided to make any changes this week that they're obviously not going to announce to us. But through 3 games, the offensive line has done some things to be better, but they've made so many mistakes. And at what point in time does somebody else get another crack at it?
Right.
Guess we'll find out.
I mean, that's usually what happens after a loss, especially kind of an ass whipping. People start questioning on, hey man, are you the right guy for this job? Maybe we should bring in somebody else to play your position. So everything gets a lot more tense when you lose. So
yeah,
see what happens.
Adam Prentice was on Tailgate Talks this morning. I got about 15 or 20 minutes into it, and I wasn't able to finish it. So I felt bad for you because those 2 fullbacks tried to gang up on you from the get-go.
This standard protocol, man.
I mean, come on, Pat. Like, he's got to be better than that, No,
it's all good. Let them have their glory for a little bit.
It's a quarterback world. You're just living in it, boys. That's enough out of you too. We'll let you run, man. Great stuff. I know you had to jump in a little bit late, but we obviously appreciate you jumping in. And hopefully next Wednesday, we're talking about a 3-1 and maybe back in the top 25 Gamecock football team with Kentucky coming to town.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Bud. Have a great week. Later, bud.
Later, man.
There you go.